Well, good morning. It is Monday again. The weeks keep rolling by. In fact, we're already halfway through the month of June. How crazy is that? Summer is in full force. And my name is Philip Thomas. I'm pastor of Journey here in Elgin, Texas. We're so glad that you've joined us today. One of the things that I've noticed over the past few years that we've gotten into a habit of as a society is we like to look at people as groups, and we kind of make an evaluation of people based on the group that they're in, right? And this can be taken to really ugly places, but I think all of us get caught up in it at one time or another. One of the groups that throughout history that we've always kind of had a negative feel is older people looking at younger people. And especially, how many times and how many articles have you read, maybe this past week, about the millennial generation or the Gen Z? That's the one coming up behind the millennials, right? And it becomes very easy to kind of bash on them and criticize what they're doing. I think it's important, and it's a good lesson for all of us to always remind ourselves not to judge every individual based on the group that they're in. What's that old phrase? Judge someone not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I believe that applies in all circumstances. This is an amazing story and one that I hope will uplift you today. This is from KTUL in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I know something encouraging can come from Oklahoma. We're in Texas. I'm obliged to make that comment. But this is in the town of Sapulpa. I'm sure I butchered that pronunciation. But there was a resident, a 90-year-old woman who lived alone. Her name was Catherine Ritchie. She lived there and went to the restroom one evening and turned around, and her house is on fire. Her mattress had caught fire. Of course, any of us would be panicked in that situation. She tried to call 911, was not able to do that, believe had a life alert. So she is doing all that she could, but the smoke got so thick in the house that she went to a closet door rather than the correct door. So she was trapped. Well, at the same time this was going on, there were four teenage boys from age 14 to 17 who were coming out and being those worthless Gen Z millennials just wanting to go and get a drink from a convenience store. And it's interesting, they talked about it, they asked him, this is 17-year-old Wyatt Hill. He said, we were just sitting around looking for something to do, right? So we were actually fixing to leave. We were fixing to go to QT to get something to drink, said 16-year-old Seth Bird. They went outside. It said it smelled kind of like burning rubber. Then we heard the house alarm go off, said 16-year-old Dylan Wick. Inside, Richie was trying to put the fire out before she gave up, calling 911, hitting her emergency call button. One of the boys went to get help from the neighbors. The other three, all three of them, went to try to get inside of the home, all trying different doors and ways to get in. I just kind of heard her, said Nick Bird. I went to the right of the house and no one was there. I went to the left of the house and I saw her in the hallway, so I grabbed her and took her to Seth. Richie, the 90-year-old lady, she made it out safe, and so did the boys, and the firefighters stopped the flames before they spread. The daughter of Mrs. Ritchie wrote a blog post thanking all of these boys, obviously, and this is something that she wrote. She said, kids who are told about all the things they aren't old enough to do saved the life of the most precious and beloved woman we know, wrote Nichols. Young men who risked their own lives, their own safety, perhaps their good standing with their parents who might have chosen for them to do otherwise, and they carried my mother out of her burning home into the street, where fire trucks and ambulances would soon arrive. Thank you for your selfless acts of heroism and courage, she added. Thank you for not allowing this to be the tragic end to our mother's amazing life. Thank you for staying with her, hugging her, and helping her feel less alone until we could get to her. Thank you for being the kind of young men who thought about another person above yourselves. Pretty cool story, and I think a great reminder to us that, you know what, maybe we need to step back on judging people by just a group of qualities that we may see from here and there, and rather look at people by the content of their character. These young men put themselves in danger and certainly give us something to be excited about the future for. And we are thankful for their willingness and their self-sacrifice. I hope that you have a wonderful week. Remember, there's a lot of good news out there. make sure you look for it. Don't fall into the trap that the media plays by just sucking you into the negativity. God is at work. He's doing amazing things. Let's pay attention to it. Hope to see you next week.